Miami is a curious case right now at the world of college football. I texted you before, kind of sent you some things I'm thinking about talking about, and then I was like, anything you're hot about, anything that you want to just talk about in general in the world of where we are right now in this sport. You like Miami more than most folks. Is that accurate?
Yep.
Talk
I
to
love
me about the
Miami.
Canes.
I love the Canes. I've loved them early in the season, much to the chagrin of Ohio State fans. When I had a tweet that I said Miami, and then a distant second afterwards. I just think this team is very elite in a lot of categories. And I think about last year's Ohio State team. You know, they had 2 losses going into the playoffs, and the big conversation was, you know, do they deserve to get in? And my opinion was I didn't think they deserved necessarily to get in, but if they got in, they were going to win the national championship. And if you go look back, I had Ohio State winning the national championship last year. Like, they just have too much talent. Like, at the end of the day, it's still about the Jimmies and Joes, and they had more Jimmies and Joes than anyone else in the country. You saw that by them winning a national championship, and obviously you saw that with how many guys that got drafted to the NFL. I think Miami's in a very similar boat. When you look at that roster, when you look at Carson, the offensive line, the receivers, you look at Bain in the defense and how good they are in their ability to get after the quarterback and stop the run. That's a dangerous football team that you put them on the field with everyone else in college football in the top 12. You'll probably say, like, okay, Miami is just as good, if not better, at most positions than the team they're going to be facing. So, like, they give me a lot of 2024 Ohio State vibes where you don't want to play them in a one-game situation, playoff game at all, because they can wreck you on offense with those guys on defense. And Carson Beck, to me, is still one of the premier quarterbacks in college football with elite talent on the outside and a great offensive line that can bulldoze you as well. So I love Miami. Are they going to get in? And do they deserve to get in? The same conversation we had a year ago about Ohio State. They need a little bit more help because there are so many teams with 2 losses right now. They were hoping that Utah would have crapped the bed a week ago, and unfortunately for them, Utah did find a way to win that game. So it's going to be a tough task for them to get in. But if they do, I will probably pick them as one of the teams to make it to the Final Four when it's all said and done. That's how much I have faith in the Hurricanes if they do find a way into the tournament.
I think what you're saying is so not crazy, but social media is so toxic to where it's hard for people to like hear that are on the other side of the fence when it comes to the Canes. Like, I also have a tweet out there talking about, I think Ruben Bain will be a Heisman finalist. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. However, though, what you said is on the money. Like, you look at Miami from a roster perspective, there's not like this massive hole or personnel flaw. It's like, how is Miami lost games? They've done dumb stuff. Carson Beck throws 4 picks. You got the pick in overtime against SMU. That was one of his 2. The defense has had a couple of moments where it's like, that's a busted coverage. What are we doing here? Offense has had some moments where, like, and stop-start. But, like, at a base level, you put them on the field with whoever. I don't think that spread would be probably more than a touchdown against most teams. BetMGM right now has a hypothetical line for Miami, Ole Miss, based on how the playoff rankings were a week ago. And it was like Miami was a 4.5-point dog on the road, so 3.5 points aside to home field. That means they think Ole Miss is a 1.5 better than Miami. Like, that's a pick 'em in my mind. Like, so I'm with you. Do you think there's a world here where if Miami gets in, they are good enough to play for a national title? Or you think like they're that level good, or just kind of frisky?
No, I do think they're that level good. No, 100%. I think they're that level good. I think they are more than capable of winning a national championship if they get in there. I think, I like Ole Miss, but I would say Miami is a significantly better defense than Ole Miss. I think the problem with Miami this year is they play a style of football that I enjoy watching because it is very much a pro style, old school type offense where it's not, hey, we're going to spread you out. Hey, we're going to throw the ball 50 times a game. Hey, we're going to go up tempo. We just know that we're good and we're just going to line up and just beat you. And obviously in that case, the margins for error are smaller because you can't go out there and Carson have a bad game like you did versus Louisville. You can't throw an interception or multiple interceptions versus SMU because you're not playing a game where you're going to have a ton of possessions and throw the ball a bunch and just going to have an opportunity to score 50 points. Like, the games are going to be lower scoring. The games are going to be closer. It reminds me more of like an NFL team and how an NFL game is going to be played when you play another competitive football team. So it just makes you have to be better. And I think they are that good to win those style of games in a playoff situation. So like if you put them against Oklahoma, if you put them against Ole Miss, if you put them against Notre Dame, who they beat, and they proved us that they can beat. And I get Notre Dame has been significantly better since that first game early in the season. CJ Carr has been significantly better. He's growing as a quarterback. The defensive backs have been better. But all you can say is, hey, Miami beat Notre Dame. And obviously that has been the big discussion point for 2 weeks of who deserves to get in with the similar schedule or similar records, obviously identical records. So a lot will be, helped out for Miami this week because Pittsburgh just beat Georgia Tech. So now it's Pittsburgh hosting Miami. If Miami wins that game and Notre Dame plays Stanford, it's hard for me if I'm not in that committee room to say, let's put those two teams on the board. Who is the better resume? And, oh, by the way, there has been a head-to-head between the two, and Miami won. And I love Notre Dame, too. I think Notre Dame is one of the best teams in America. It just would be kind of sickening to me if Notre Dame is a number 8 seed and Miami's left out, especially if Miami goes on the road and wins against Pittsburgh this weekend.
Hey, Notre Dame got to go to Palo Alto now. Got to go out to the farm. I don't know. We'll see. Frisky Stanford team. We'll see what happens out there. But I feel like when I watch Miami, I'm not on the same roller coaster that I was last year. Like, you knew every single weekend, doesn't matter who they're playing, doesn't matter the spread. It's going to be close. Miami might be down in the first half. Cam Ward will do something cool, and then Miami will 10 times out of 12 find a way to pull it out. But I just feel like this team's got such a higher floor. They have 2 unexcused absences, I call it, with the Louisville and SMU game. But outside of that, I'm like, I really like this body.
How far do you think they could go? Like, do you think they can make? I guarantee you, if they're in the playoffs, they'll make it to the Final Four. I think they're good enough to win a national championship. I guarantee you they'll make it to the Final Four. Are you as high on them as I am, or do you think they're a first round and out, or maybe second round and out type of team?
I think they could definitely win a game. It's tough now, Aaron. Like I say this, I think it's more difficult than ever to predict who's winning a national championship in the preseason because we don't know if we're going to get a draw like we're Penn State where we get SMU and Boise State the first 2 rounds, whereas Ohio State gets to play Tennessee the first round and then they go play Oregon. Like, those are 2 very different. So I think giving like all things be equal on the draw, I think Miami could be a 2-win team in the playoff. Yeah, I do. But it's a matter of, am I getting the Miami that showed up in September, or do we get the Miami that showed up against Louisville? So we'll see.
It would be funny if Ohio State got Oregon this year, where Miami wins the first. If Miami gets in, Miami wins the first round, and then Miami plays Ohio State, similar to what Oregon did last year, where Oregon had the bye. Ohio State wins, and then they get smoked. And I think Miami's that. I don't think Miami would smoke Ohio State, obviously, to the extent that Ohio State smoked Oregon a year ago. And obviously, playing them for a second time obviously is a little bit different than playing for the first time. But that could be funny. Of like, oh, finally Ohio State gets challenged against a team that could be just as physical as them at the line of scrimmage, and your freshman quarterback finally gets exposed against that defense because it's not just 7-on-7. So that would be kind of funny if that draw ends up happening for Ohio State.
Dude, the playoff matchups we could get here across the board are going to be so awesome. If it's Miami, Ohio State, like Ohio State, anybody is going to be awesome.